Welcome back, guys, to WCS Premier League 2015. We've had a long day full of action here in Group G, and we've seen one player eliminated already in the Chinese Zerg IA, as well as this young Swedish Protest player Showtime qualify. This last final match will determine who joins Showtime in the round of 16, and it'll be a rematch between Hydra and MorroW. There's so much riding on this, as this is it, guys. The loser forfeits his spot in Premier League and has to go home. I honestly can't wait to see what these two players have in store for us. Let's hand the reins over to our commentary team, Rotterdam and Nathanius.
Indeed, it will all come down to this final best of three of the day. Nate, here you have it. You show up to WCS, you beat Hydra once, you're the first non-Korean to do this in 60 tries, and then you have to do it again. That's just unfair, man. That's brutal.
Do you have any medals in the back, you know, just in case? Just a little bit like, you did it. But, yeah, winning again, that's, you know, they say the odds of, like, winning the lottery or something is pretty small, but to do it twice so quickly after another one, it's, yeah, he's got a tough match ahead of him for sure. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very tough indeed, but MorroW definitely is not out of this one. He just played an awesome first series of the day, and even game number one, it didn't really look all that bad, up to the point where he lost a bunch of SCVs. I'm sure that a lot of people have joined us throughout this broadcast. Not everybody's always able to catch the first series of the day, but earlier today, these two players did go up against each other, and MorroW was able to win that series 2-1. Huge upset. Once more, Hydra did not lose against a foreigner in forever. Ali Gulak even says that it has never happened, and Ali Gulak never lies. No. So it was a crazy series, but MorroW just played well. Great splits, great control, a couple of awesome builds, a couple of good comebacks even, I would say, in game number 2 after, well, I mean, it wasn't really a comeback, but he did lose a lot of SCVs at first. Just overall, he played a very solid TvZ series. So it's not that he really locked his way to victory. It's like, no, he pretty much deserved that one.
Yeah, MorroW didn't do any crazy all-ins or cheeses of any kind.
We didn't see one base hellbat
straight up. No. We pretty much just saw completely straight-up games out of MorroW, and I think that was one of the things that made it really, really interesting, because going into this next series, I still don't believe MorroW's going to be able to cheese out Hydra. Like, it's just not going to happen. Hydra's drone scouted against him, and close to, you know, at least the first game.
Yeah, the first game he did it. Yeah. It's really funny that I felt like out of the 3 games, I felt that Hydra played the safest in game number 1, and he did win that one. But in game number 2, or not even safest is the word, I would say the least economic in game number 1. And game number 2 and 3, like game number 2, it was Hydra's choice to go for that roach push. It was not MorroW saying like, you know, like, oh, if I get away with this and I've won this game, it's just Hydra thinking, I think I can make this work. And I would say that he around 60% completed in making it work. Like, it wasn't the total failure. It was also not.
It was also the Hellions coming in afterwards because of his wall. We've seen that twice in games today. Hydra not having that perfect wall, and then the Hellions running by, and then IA got wrecked by Hydra's Lings coming in through what definitely was not close enough to be a wall.
So overall, I think it's very possible we see the exact same map pool. I don't think that Hydra is going to veto any maps because he thinks he lost because of the map.
No.
You know, Nate, I do want to talk about this one more time. We went over this already when they played earlier, but I feel Hydra, he's an awesome player, of course. He has great mechanics, but I definitely felt his creep spread was underwhelming in that series.
Yeah,
for a Zerg of that caliber,
times, especially on like Vonnie Research Station, because we even had Flo point out 2 full energy queens at the edge of the creep, and it was just like, I understand that MorroW, you know, MorroW's not the slowest player in the game, but I was watching the APM tab a few times. On Vonnie Research Station, Hydra was cruising around 313 APM per, like, just averaging that, and MorroW was at like 191. So I'm like, I feel like Hydra's a fast enough of a player that shouldn't be a concern, but MorroW definitely either just slowed him down way too much on it, or Hydra needs to step it up a little bit.
But it's always a dance. It's always the Terran play. We'll always try to prevent the tumors from going down, and we'll try to throw down a couple scans and pick them off, and then it's up to the Zerg. Like, it's not up to the Zerg to only spread it in the start of the game and then see how long they last. Like, and this is why we applauded Scarlet so often in the past for, you know, her non-stop renewing of creep tumors over and over and over again. Like, the map will always be covered in creep, and I think Jaedong is awesome in that as well. And I would even say TLO is one of the guys that truly stands out in that department as well. And from a world-class Zerg like Hydra, I really expect him to focus much more on that, especially if you rely on Zergling, Baneling, Muda. Like, that army is about 200 times as good on creep as it is off creep.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. The ability for MorroW to split was shown very, very well. Top tier splits. I don't think you could look at a replay of that and be like, oh, this was a non-Korean player. You probably would have expected it to be one of the other top players that play in the GSL that you would cheer for, because it was close to perfect. But if he can keep the creep spread up, it's going to help a lot, though. MorroW,
Yep.
he made the journey out here. He won once. It's possible to do it again, just very difficult.
Played a great game, great day of StarCraft overall so far. Even great games against Showtime as well. Those were hectic, but they were very fun. Seems like Hydra is looking for a little bit of help, as he knows that this is an extremely important series for him. This is not, you know, old school GSL where you have 5 seasons in a year. It's like, okay, you know, you bomb out in one GSL season, but then you have a good shot at season number 2 or 3. It's like, no, there are 3 seasons of WCS Premier League outside of Korea this year. And a player like Hydra, once again, he recently moved to the United States of America. He's living in the Bay Area, in the Root Gaming house. He did not come here to make it to the round of 32 or even the round of 16. Like, no, this guy wants to have that first big title behind his name, and he's definitely good enough to do so.
Yeah, it's definitely a big opportunity for Hydra to really cement himself as a WCS contender. As we all know, the year flies by faster than you might think, and especially from the North American tournaments that have been announced this year, it's looking like there's not going to be quite as many opportunities to grab WCS points either, so a little bit more tricky for those competing outside Korea.
Of course, the year is still young, Nate.
Yeah.
Plenty of announcements still to be made.
Soon, TM.
Well, so while we're waiting for Hydra and MorroW to be totally good to go for the final series today, we can talk a little bit about tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be back one more time for the last, you know, I would say online broadcast, but it sounds really weird. But for the last time in the round of 32, as we have our final group. Nate, I know it's a very Protoss heavy group. I know Maxhead will be playing, I know Hawk will be playing, I know Welmo will be playing, and last but not least we have who's the 4th player in our final group?
Hi, guys, mate.
Ah, yeah, I guess. From Down Under, that's right. So it's going to be an awesome day, man. That's going to be so...
One Terran, 3 Protoss.
We could make a movie about that. 1 Terran and 3
yeah,
Protoss.
horror film. Starring me and a bunch of oracles.
I was more thinking of like a 300 scenario where there's 1 Terran on a mountain and it's just like swiping away or Protoss players left and right.
I can imagine Ike up on in that choke point with his axe. Yeah, man.
I think tomorrow is going to be a great day of StarCraft, so hopefully everybody will tune in once more at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, and midnight for the Europeans. Of course, not perfect and midnight European time, but it is Saturday tomorrow. So hopefully you have a chill Sunday ahead of you. And you can make it a late night, because it's going to be awesome. And hopefully all the Australians will be able to tune in as well to cheer for their man from Down Under.
Yeah. As we get into this, the veto process is now starting. So the map pick, we're still going to be a BBA, it looks like. And MorroW's actually just confirming that real quick before we actually move into the veto process. Wants to know what the order will be. So it's going to be a BBA. And yeah.
Then it's BAC.
So the whoever gets first veto will not get the first map pick, it looks like. So MorroW wants to be B. He wants to have 2 vetoes in a row and basically try to mess with Hydra, I guess, based on what he vetoes. First veto will be Inferno Pools from Hydra. Does not want to play on that map.
That's funny, because didn't MorroW veto that map in the first series of the day?
Yes.
Because and then we thought that maybe he doesn't want to have cross map, so that's interesting. Now maybe MorroW will return the favor and veto one of the maps that Hydra vetoed earlier today. Of course, once again, MorroW vetoed Overgrowth when they played for the first time. We'll see if he sticks with that pattern.
And I'm interested to see which ones he gets rid of, because he will be able to pick 2 in a row. So he gets rid of... don't know if he saw Hydra's message then. But,
he vetoes Overgrowth and Inferno Pool.
Yeah, well, Inferno Pool is already gone, so you can get rid of Overgrowth.
No,
and
I hate it
something
that
else.
much. I want to veto it twice. That's what I'm going to do today. So we'll just update you guys by the time that the veto process is actually done. Once again, let us know what you thought about today's games. Let us know if you're happy with Showtime winning the group. Hashtag WCS on the Twitter universe. And of course, make sure to spread the word to the world as well for tomorrow, as we're going to have a heavy Protoss group and our Gimli Terran, as Cormac has called him a long time ago. Of course, talking about Aegis.
Aegis, the top Terran from the southeast, the Oceania region. is it's mostly Zergs that managed to escape from that place.
Yes.
All the wildlife.
Moonglade has found a new safe haven all the way up in Korea. He's like, I've had enough of all these spiders and snakes crawling under my PC desk. Man, I'd be terrified. You're playing a TVP on Catalina. You're like,
not only am I getting Oracle Rush, but there's a Black Widow on my keyboard.
And we're not talking about the actual keyboard. You know?
No.
It's like, what are you playing with, a Black Widow? Oh, it's a great keyboard. No, I'm talking about the actual
No, there's
spider.
actually a spider on my desk.
It's like, pause please. Black Widow's bugging out. That could create a great stream on Twitch. Man, I'd be terrified living in Australia, I'm not gonna lie.
Unsurprisingly, Secret Springs does get vetoed.
Ah, that
The
would
3
have been...
maps will be Expedition Lost, Vani Research Station, and Catalina.
It's the same map as...
We're going to start with Catalina again.
Yeah, it's the same map. No, we started on Expedition Lost the last time, and then the second map was Deadwing. So this time Deadwing got vetoed by...
No Deadwing this time, and Catalina. MorroW is the one that vetoed Deadwing. And he won on that map, too.
That's interesting. Maybe he feels like it was one time.
He wants to shake it up.
Man, like, it's really funny that both players switch up their vetoes that much without either of them playing this particular matchup.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we're going to go Catalina, Expedition Lost, Vani Research Station in that order. So things could get interesting, to say the least. I'm thinking for Catalina, Terran versus Zerg, obviously very good map for Reapers because you have a lot of flip space to work with. No surprises if you guys watch a lot of StarCraft. The Intel Extreme Masters Taipei was the most recent one when we basically saw Reaper madness from MorroW as he shreked quite a few Zergs.
Do you think it's possible that MorroW busts that strategy out? Double X Reaper?
I think if this, I think we're too late into this season. I feel like a lot of Zergs have had a lot of practice on this. Like if you play, especially these guys, especially Hydra, probably still playing the Korean ladder, probably see build like that from every single Terran he played for a solid couple weeks after that tournament happened. But
maybe he doesn't expect it from a real pro gamer like MorroW.
Anything could happen, Kev.
You expect the real pro gamers to play straight up, you know.
I like Hellion Banshee openings out of Reapers on this map because you just have, there's so much different space that you can mess around with, but we'll see.
We're almost good to go for the final series of today. We do apologize for the minor downtime we had a couple of times. You know, some days everything goes flawless and we have absolutely zero downtime and the entire show's wrapped up in 3 hours, and a couple of times, you know, we have a monitor bugging out.
I think the games have made up for it today,
exactly.
Kev. We've had some really, really good games, and hopefully you guys have been enjoying it. Like Kev said, throw out them hashtags, hashtag WCS on Twitter. Let us know what you guys have been thinking about the matches. Your posts on Reddit. We love to read your comments.
We have been reading pretty much all of them. Apparently, Hazuups has informed me as well that it's not Deutschland Beste Gamer anymore, and they've already renamed EPS, but it's still not called EPS. So I still think, you know, we could make a case for.
we can take that brand. we can run with it.
Or just hashtag bring EPS back.
Well, we are now loaded into game number 1 of the final match of Group G. 1 best-of-3 to determine a player going home and a player going to the round of 16. It's going to be on Catalina, a Terran versus Zerg. I'm very interested to see how close this resembles the first time they played. In the bottom left position of Catalina, we have the blue Zerg player representing Root Gaming. He is Hydra.
And on the top side of Catalina, we have our Swedish Terran representing prop. It is MorroW.
Yeah, the Swedish team property. I remember it was Mike MorroW and Show holding down the fort for those guys for the longest time up in Sweden.
It's ancient history.
Both of them with some interesting, they had, you know, bouts against Koreans, Zergs in big tournaments.
Of course, Show had the legendary series against Life. Natorino, you still get goosebumps thinking about those games on Star Station, do you?
The dreams, man. Those are the dreams. Every Terran wishes he could have a game like that. Or a series like the one MorroW had against Hydra earlier today. This time, though, he has opened up with a an 11 supply barracks and an 11 supply gas. So he delayed his 12th SCV to get his Reaper out faster. So already MorroW is showing he wants to open not crazy aggressive, but a little bit more so than usual. If he throws on a second barracks, then we're really getting into the Reaper madness stage, and he could very well do so in the next few moments. 14 supply, we're at that point. He wants to seriously commit.
It is a spawning pool first, though, for Hydra, so this slightly quicker Reaper shouldn't really throw him off all that much. And I think it's just going to be a single barracks opening from MorroW. I'd be surprised if he throws down the second one. So this should work out relatively nice for Hydra. Of course, it's not as economic as Hatch first would have been, but now he shouldn't lose anything against his Reaper. And normally you already shouldn't lose anything against the Reaper, but it can definitely be frustrating. As a Zerg, of course, you can always morph your drones. He's actually making 6 Zerglings as well with this opening, trying to perhaps deny the command center from going down on the low ground, or pick up the SCV.
Yeah, usually, like if you're going for 12 supply barracks, like you can go Reaper and sometimes 2 Reapers, sometimes just Reaper into Reactor. Both times, if your Reaper's out on the map and those Lings get over there, they can do a great job of denying a natural command center from finishing, which might be why Hydra still got 6 Lings, even though his Queens will be out. So MorroW has to be very careful about where this Reaper goes, because if he goes to start his natural and the Zerglings slow it down, then you're in a very sad place.
He's hiding a couple of Zerglings as well in the natural. Now he sees the Reaper hopping into the main base, and immediately he will send the Zerglings across the map. So that's exactly what he will try to do. I don't think he has any ambitions of killing the command center, but just like picking off the SCV that's actually going to build a command center. There we go, SCVs. Man, I forgot how those things were called, Nate.
Well, MorroW did send his second Reaper across the map, so it's looking like he will be able to pick off the worker constructing this base. And with how young this command center is, he might even be able to nibble on it long enough that he has to consider pulling some forces over to save this thing. He will have a Reaper pop out, though. Not enough Lings to really kill it. He does still have his Reaper doing a bit of poking in the main base, but I don't believe he's actually gotten anything from it.
No, he got very close to getting a drone over there. But anyway, these Zerglings are annoying as not enough, forcing this Reaper to stay home for a little bit as well. Eventually, the Reaper should be able to clean this up. Save the SCV.
It would be so bad for MorroW. Okay, gets back to work, but his natural has been significantly delayed. And these Reapers have really not gotten him a whole lot of anything, aside from the fear of the Reapers making Hydra open up pool first.
Yeah, of course, you know, the Zerglings slow Hydra down a tiny bit as well, making 6 Lings early on. Does hurt your economy. Could have been 3 drones or at least 2 drones and then 1 set of Zerglings to buy time for your Queens. But overall, I think Hydra is very happy with how that went. That was very frustrating for MorroW. He lost 2 SCVs in that process as well. Just not what you want.
No. MorroW's going to need to make a couple cute plays to keep himself in an okay position in this game. 3rd command center starts up. Makes a lot of sense. And from this point onward, you know, it's going to be a little bit like that Expedition Lost game where he starts off just a little bit behind, where he lost those Marines, that SCV or 2. And, you know, with 3 command centers, anything is possible. But with this Roach Horn, it's looking like he might try to capitalize on a pre-stim setup that MorroW might have.
Yes. It could, of course, be a defensive Roach Horn as well, but I kind of have the feeling that he might want to do something tricky with it, even though the extractors are very late, and he doesn't really have a whole lot of gas in the bank. So we'll see. So far, it's still nothing but drones. Maybe he's just worried about Hellbats. Could be the case as well.
Yeah, there's some crazy builds that people have thrown out on this map, and that command center is actually tucked pretty far away from where any overlords would be able to see it. MorroW doesn't want him to be
Hydra's making 3
confident.
overlords. That gives me the idea that he wants to queue up a lot of roaches. Otherwise, you don't queue up 3 overlords at once.
MorroW actually does start an armory before he has any engineering base, even off a 3 command center opening. This is pretty wonky. Because if this doesn't do any damage, he's in a lot of trouble. And you know what? With roaches and a Baneling nest on the way, I don't think it's going to do a lot of damage.
Like, this is not a defensive setup for Hydra. This is the type of setup where he's like, you know, I'm going to make sure that I have units to defend at home, but I'm also going to attack you. Because your units maybe, they might be in my natural, maybe they won't be in my natural. But overall, I think my roaches are going to be very strong in this phase of the game. It is surprising to me to see Hydra going for such an aggressive build once more. Even though this time I think it's a very, very promising scenario, and I think he can make a lot of magic happen with the build that he's chosen, especially because we see Engineering Bay number 2 and 3 go down before we see Barracks number 2 and 3 go down. So MorroW is just being extremely greedy over here, and now he's going to find all these roaches, and he's probably realizing that, alright, this is red alert.
The Lings catch a few of these Hellions trying to stop them from being able to get away. He starts up a bunker, but this wall shouldn't last long. Banelings are now in production, and oh, is he gonna raise the depot? Oh, he's trying to bring the Hellbats out, and like on this ramp itself, without high ground vision, which the Overlord gives. So that's not. I guess it's not really a point. It's a moot point. But basically, Hellbats can fight reasonably well 1v1 against roaches. But with Banelings, there's
has to be very careful with these Zerglings.
I don't see how MorroW's supposed to hold this.
Yep. Banelings will start trickling in, a couple of Zerglings being very annoying as well, making sure these Hellbats can't run anywhere as soon as the Roach is shooting at them. One of the bunkers does finish, so that's something that MorroW can work with, but these Banelings getting massive hits on all the SCVs, and that might just be it for game number 1. Hydra takes it very quick on Catalina in a 9-minute game.
Everything just worked for Hydra. He opened up pool first against the 11 supply barracks. The Reapers did absolutely nothing. He killed a handful of SCVs at the start of the game, delaying the command center, which delays his extra mule so that he can get all his other infrastructure up. And each one of those little delays, even moving the SCV around if he doesn't kill it, slows you down so much towards being able to defend against a big push like this.
For a second, I was like, man, these Hellbats actually did quite a bit of damage to those first Roaches. This might be sort of annoying for Hydra to break, but as soon as all the Banelings came in, yeah. The first couple of Banelings was nice, and then like the additional 2 Banelings that he had killing all the SCVs that were repairing the bunker is like, well, that's that.
Yeah. Tough game for MorroW, as once holding on against pushes like this, we saw him use SCVs on Deadwing in the first series that they played, but it doesn't work when your opponent has Banelings. You just kind of kill them all instantly.
Yeah, Hydra probably looked at that push on Deadwing. He's like, went pretty well, but imagine if I had a couple of Banelings. Of course, this is a much more all-in version than the push he did on Deadwing. The one on Deadwing was a lot quicker, so it was of a weaker economy at first, but he was droning up non-stop behind this. This time he kind of saturated 2 bases. Then he moved out with Roaches, and he like just threw all of his gas into a Baneling nest as well. MorroW is probably going to have to rethink his very greedy playstyle just a tiny bit. Maybe he didn't expect Hydra to go for builds that are that aggressive. Maybe he just looked at Hydra and he thought, well, Hydra probably thinks that he can outplay me in a long game.
Yeah,
so
that's the impression that I got. And Hydra, I think he realized that too, because if he looked at those replays, which I'm sure he did, from the first series,
he's just like,
MorroW was exceptionally greedy.
Yeah. So Hydra's probably like, well, just because I think I can outplay you in the long game doesn't mean I necessarily have to. And if you're going to be that greedy, I can show you that I'm not a robot. I do actually use my brain when I play StarCraft II, and I'm going to take some advantage of these greedy builds that you're going for.
Yeah, and I'm sure getting some words in with good old Paulo back home. Cat's probably watching all the games. He's like, look, man, MorroW's playing way too greedy. Take advantage of it. Let's see if he can bring this series back. Starting off so far the same way as the first one in the bottom left position. The Red Terran player from Sweden, he's MorroW. He's got to win 2 games in a row, just like our first match of the day.
Over here on the right top side of the map, we have our Blue Zerg representing Root Gaming. It is, of course, Hydra. Just 1 map win away now from qualifying for the round of 16. Of course, that was the goal all along. At least round of 16, but preferably much more for that. Again, the drone scout on Expedition lost. Maybe because it's a 2-player map and he's a tiny bit worried about proxy Rexes. That could be the case as well. Look at that little, what is it, a gazelle?
Flo's having too much fun with that. I think it's a Tastalope, actually.
Okay. Well, I have no idea how those things look like, Nate. I've never encountered one.
Yeah, play this. I don't see him too often either. I have this map vetoed.
Oh, no, I do kill them on this map. But not in real life.
Why would you let everybody know that? That's terrible.
No, my stalker.
You kill the critters on the map?
Yeah, my stalker scout for critters and proxies.
I'm disgusted.
Why? You have to warm up your lasers.
Well, I'll tell you, I guess that's a somewhat reasonable excuse, Kevin. The drone scout, though, he sees just enough.
That's nice.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, the drone was very eager to get that SCP, but then his buddy showed up and said, no, not today.
Back up.
So that's nice. First blood always feels good, even when it doesn't mean much, but just killing a worker early on, it's like, nice, it's something.
Yeah. Moving into this game, he is going to open up with the Reaper, and we talked about all the reasons why Reapers are not fantastic on this map. As we get another look at that beautiful little...
Tastalope. It's the MVP of this game so far, that's for sure.
I don't think there are any Artosalopes on this map.
Are there in general in this game?
Yes, they do exist.
I'm so jealous. In Legacy of the Void, Nate, I want something that represents the Roddy. I don't know what. Something really cool. Maybe a bull.
You want a bull?
Yeah.
I'll take it. Spawning pool is finishing up for Hydra now as MorroW starts his expansion.
Or like how in the old days we We
They
used
move
to
so
have these
fast.
big sharks, you remember?
Yeah, the flying shark.
Yeah,
You want to be the
what map
flying
was
shark?
that?
You want to be the Roddy shark?
Yeah, I would love to be the Roddy shark. What was that big shark? What was that map with the big shark in the middle?
Cloud Kingdom.
Yeah, okay, but there was another
There was one
one.
on Ohana as well.
No, there was one more, like a weird one.
You know all the maps with sharks on them.
That was a really weird map with an in-base natural, I believe it was. Or no, a low-ground natural. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Completely off topic, not related to this game at all. And this game is pretty damn important as MorroW as Reaper makes his way across the map. He's gonna start chipping away at this drone. Of course, should not be able to get the drone kill. Would be awesome if he did. But normally against Hydra, you're not gonna get a drone kill in this phase in the game.
Well, MorroW actually, looks like he forgot to get his second depot for actually quite a while, as he should have about 4 Marines at home, but he's only going to have 2.
The second refinery is a lot quicker than in some of his other builds, isn't it, Nick?
Getting the impression that we might see Cloak Banshees this game into a Cloak Banshee like Hellbat push out of this. This is like a really strong type of
4GG
attack.
build.
Yeah, 4GG build, a little bit. Of course, if it doesn't work, you're in a lot of trouble, but maybe the lack of any builds like that has given MorroW the impression that he might be able to, you know, get away with it, which...
I think the Overlord positioning is very important over here. If we take a look at where Hydra has positioned his Overlords around the base of MorroW, I think it's very unlikely Hydra won't see this one coming, Nate.
Yeah. He should be able to get an Overlord in to see this.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the tech lab. Actually, it's a reactor on this, so he's gonna Hellbat. No, he's not gonna Hellbat drop him, is he?
Maybe it's Marines and Medavacs and Hellbats. Maybe it's still a Cloak Banshee follow-up just a lot later.
I guess, yeah, I just made a lot of Marines and a lot of Hellions. Still not a build I've seen, actually. Actually, I haven't seen anyone do this in like a broadcasted game before.
Definitely the most aggressive opening that MorroW has showed us throughout the game, throughout the day.
This is a pretty wild build. He's going to get an armory as well. I haven't actually seen anyone open up quite like this except for Hellbat drops, but he's not going to put the reactor on the starport. So a lot of Marines, probably going to drop them and then run the Hellions by, or just a direct forward push and try to kill him. Okay, now he's going to get the heavy medevac count out. So just build unkillable Hellbats with a ton of healing.
Well, definitely a 4GG is type of build. And a build that I know you are very familiar with, Nate, to some degree, and maybe.
I mean, I haven't Hellbat dropped in forever, man. I feel like
it's a lie, Nate.
we're kicking it old school.
That is a lie.
Well, Hellbats used to be pretty strong, at least in medevacs.
Hydra is right now at 38 drones already against the 21 of MorroW. This just shows how aggressive this build from MorroW is going to be, and how much damage he's gonna have to do with this, Nate. We don't have a Roach one yet, right?
No, we have a spine crawler and probably a fast lair build, but that extra reactor could come in really handy then. So here come the medevacs, 3 medevacs pushing out 6 Marines and a lot of Hellions moving across the map.
And
One Zergling will slip into the natural though. He's gonna potentially scout all of this.
He's gonna see there's no SCVs over there, and he's gonna be like, hey, what the hell?
Where'd your workers go?
Yeah,
bro?
I mean, like right now, Hydra is up 20 workers. So even if he loses 10 or even 15 drones, I still think he's in a good position. He's morphing 20 Zerglings now at once. They're all in production. The spine crawler is not rooted yet, so it's going to take quite a bit of damage over here.
Good transfuse. First one on it is quite good.
Okay,
he's,
good pickups on the
doing
Hellbats.
some Hellbat micro with the lift ups there. Not bad. Trying to make the most out of these medevacs that he has as he continues to push back.
One more though.
Against the Queens. 3 of those Queens are very, very weak moving into the natural. And like you said, with no Rotor, no Baneliness, it's just
needs
Lings.
to save all of his Hellbats. Picks up one more. Good play so far by MorroW, but he needs to keep microing these Hellbats, and that's exactly what he's been doing so far, Nate.
2 very weak, does pick them off, and as long as these Queens are alive, it's just damage output that's not going to stop. Needs to get these Marines heading. Oh, these transfuses have been really good. Does pick off another one of the Queens. He's trying to get into a choke point here. Another medevac does show up though with a few more Hellbats.
But it's not good enough though for MorroW. I feel like he's killing a lot of Zerglings, but he doesn't have to be killing the Zerglings over here, or he didn't want to be killing Zerglings. He was supposed to kill a bunch of Queens and more than just a handful of drones. Now the Spire is about to finish up, and once the Spire has finished up, I feel like it's just happy hunting.
The Mutalisk should be the end of this aggression, to say the least. And behind this, stim packs have begun to be researched. He's still building Hellions.
I mean, he has killed a lot of Zerglings. Over 70 units have died already in this game, but just killing Zerglings, once again, is not enough. If he can get this hatchery very low on HP, or maybe even kill it, that would be something. Hellbats do have a lot of potential DPS output. The Mutalisk are about to pop, but most of them will pop in the natural or in the main. There are a couple of Hellions swinging by into the natural as well, so MorroW is still looking for openings, and actually starting to do some reasonable damage over here now, Nate.
Got a couple drone kills. It's still very important that he kills this third base, and I think he should be able to get it.
There's too much damage output now in these Hellions.
Yeah.
Or
So
Hellbats.
killing the third, very important. It at least buys him some time before Hydra can try to saturate that.
And he throws up 4 missile turrets on the other side of the map, and that is crucial, because how often don't we see pushes like this do quite a bit of damage?
And then the mutas just go across the map and end the game.
And then there are like 5 slow mutalists that actually just kill everything with no upgrades, no support whatsoever, just because the missile turrets are not ready. But this time the missile turrets are ready. Like, this is almost a copy of U-Thermo against Gigawa.
It's still important to note that MorroW has no third command center, so this is still not a position you can do a lot from. It is Stim Pack. No, so close. He could actually pick this off.
That may have been a different game. Oh my god, MorroW's never repairing his Stim Pack.
No.
MorroW just hates repairing Stim or attack labs, doesn't it?
It was like the only spot there that was really vulnerable. Ah, boy. He's trying to slowly push up more turrets, but with only 1 barracks and 1 starport producing units, it's not looking all that good, Kev.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe he didn't want to repair it because he had no DPS anyway. And
I mean, the Mutalisks would have just killed the SCVs that came over to get it. I don't know if he could have bought himself enough time.
And of course, now behind this, on the other side of the map, Hydra is just droning and droning and droning. He's already back up to 61. He's getting 5 more drones out. He's going to pick up a couple of mules over here and there. This has truly been the day of Mutalisk on Expedition Lost.
Yeah, once again, another stim cancel, really messing up a situation where you're really just trying to recover from a somewhat manageable position. Like, he has a third command center now, which is great. Like, that's exactly what you want to have. He's got his upgrades going, so does Hydra at the same time.
Yeah.
But what really kills him is not having that stim, because now there's absolutely nothing he can do to put pressure on.
I was really bothered by the fact that I mentioned U-Thermo versus Chihuahua, but actually the game I was referring to was Kalazur versus TLO in the final series of the day.
Yeah.
That was the one. Maybe U-Thermo is watching, he's like, yeah, that didn't happen to me at all. Stop lying. Just in case, Nate, you never know.
So MorroW's going to start up his stim again, and that 16-minute stim timing, man, looks like we're going to be seeing something close to that once more. Like close to 17 minutes this game.
He does have 3 orbital commands, so that is something. And now, at least for the rest of the game, he has a lot of missile turrets scattered around his base. But still, it's definitely an uphill battle for MorroW. Right now, Hydra has all freedom in the world as well to spread creep like a madman. And even though he lost a couple of queens, I think this time the creep spread should get a lot better. Should definitely be better than it's been throughout the entirety of the day.
Yeah, he's starting to block the potential third bases off too. Has Lings on the southeast one. He's spreading creep with his Overlord in the northwest one. And these Mutalisks are just hunting. They're looking around for anything that there might be to grab. Almost gets a Widow Mine.
The Tastelope is still there. He's looking up. It's like, Mutalisk on my right, Widow Mine on my left. I'm living dangerous.
Just chilling. Just chilling. Like a real tasteless wood. So, a couple banelings being made outside of MorroW's base. Does Hydra really think, is he just going to try to kill him right here? He doesn't have baneling speed yet.
He doesn't have to. I think he's just trying to prevent it, or maybe hoping for a bunch of Marines to clump up. He's still being annoying with these Mutalisks, which is insane because there have been so many missile turrets around all along. But yeah, the stim has just been so extremely late. Like you said, Nate, another 16 to 17 minute stim timing, and it's just not what you want if you're MorroW.
Yeah, he's just stuck. He's stuck in his base. You can't leave your base with slow Marines. Like, it's just not happening.
Yeah, you can try, but it's not very successful.
It's like, oh, try to split your stimmed Marines on creep against banelings and barely lose. You're like, oh no. It's like, well, yeah, well, without stim, that's not even a fight.
Hydra definitely in a very good position now. Has done a really good job in delaying this command center, or orbital command, I should say, from going down as well. By first dropping some Overlord creep and then later just threatening to attack with Zerglings and Banelings. Not actually committing to it, but just threatening. MorroW sends Christopher Columbus Marine across the map and he finds the promised land. But, but he's not welcome.
No, he will be excommunicated very quickly. So MorroW in this game, if he wants to try to bring this game back, he basically needs the greatest Widow Mine hits we've ever hit. He actually needs to call up Show and get those Widow Mines back from Star Station, wherever they are. They're still on there. But if he doesn't have those mines, I'm not really sure that this game is winnable because he just doesn't have the resources to put out enough Marines. And even when the Mutalisks are fighting the Marines head-to-head with impunity, it's like, it's like, hey, you Mutalisks, you're supposed to back off when I send Marines up here. He's like, no.
I think almost the only thing that MorroW can hope for is that Hydra will somehow give him time to get up to like 170, 180 supply.
And he has to just take the best fights ever.
And then the best fight ever. But like Hydra right now is like, no, I'm on 4 bases. I'm going to morph 30 Banelings. My 2-2 upgrades are about to finish. This is almost like old school ZVT as well. I mean, we have a bunch of mines over there. So, but of course, these overseas have seen these mines. Yep.
Yeah, and not even being able to detonate those mines is really frustrating. It's
Oh
just enough
man,
mutas
Hydra
to
picks up
one-shot
3 or
them.
4 mines already.
Yeah, he has so much. He has so many mutas, he can just one-shot them. And the one Widow mine that does fire hits a few Marines, and Hydra's just going to force his way in. I don't think there's anything MorroW can do to stop him. Continuing to push up the ramp. Hydra wants to get out of this group in the revenge match, and it looks like he should be able to do so. He's on top of the Terran production. Anything that comes out from MorroW will be instantly swallowed by this Zerg force.
Yeah, MorroW has played a great day of StarCraft II. He was able to defeat Hydra in the first series of the day. But in the end, it's not going to be enough, as indeed that is a whole lot of Zerg. And Hydra will still advance to WCS Premier League round of 16. But it was definitely, Nate, a lot closer than a lot of people have predicted.
Yeah, not as easy as most people would have thought for Hydra in this group, advancing with Showtime, the European Protoss player. Well, that was a tough second series. Hydra really flipped the switch there on him with the builds that he was going for.
And I must say, like the way that he executed that final push, of course he's extremely far ahead, and like most likely he will win even if he aim moves. But he picked off every single mine that MorroW had there.
Yeah.
Not a single, only one mine that actually shot at like 3 or 4 units. All of the other ones, every single time I saw mine burrow, the Mutalist, like he didn't have many. He had like 5 or 6. Always right click, right click. Always pick them off.
Yeah, just enough mutas, and you know, Hydra's a smart guy. He knows how many mutas he needs to pick off the mines before they can fire. And you know, those 6 mines, like I said, those were supposed to be the game changers. Those were supposed to be, well, Kev, if all these mines detonate on big clumps of Banelings, then maybe he loses 60 supply in exchange for 5. But that wasn't meant to be.
So where do you think it went wrong for MorroW? Of course, like it went wrong earlier, but like I felt like he lost maybe 1 or 2 Hellbats before he really had to. Like he definitely had some cool Hellbat micro with, you know, with the Hellbats. He picked up a couple of them, dropped them behind the other Hellbats again. But in the end, I felt it was just not good enough.
I feel like when you're in situations like that, and you know, I wouldn't want to claim to be better at these situations than MorroW, because I don't do Hellbat pushes terribly often. But when you do, I think you always want to try to have the Marines pick off those Queens, because the Queens are very low on health, and towards the end of the fight, I could notice there were still 4 Marines alive, and like those Marines should only be trying to kill the Queens, because that's what makes it so good. Once the medevacs run out of energy, then the Hellbats die much, much faster, because the Zerglings alone can't kill them while they're being healed.
There was definitely one pivotal moment when there were 3 Queens, all relatively low HP, and then there was this one middle Queen that gathered enough energy to drop a transfuse on the left Queen, and then that left Queen got enough energy to drop on the other Queen.
Exactly.
And then instead of looking at like 2 dead Queens and 1 half HP Queen, suddenly you have 3 very healthy Queens.
Because if you kill those Queens, then you just move your Hellbats into
the natural.
In between a mineral patch and another mineral patch, and they don't die. Like, this doesn't work.
Oh, well, overall, I think that was a great day of StarCraft 2, and obviously this must still feel like a huge relief of Hydra's shoulders, who did advance in the end, not as a winner of the group, but as runner-up, and I'm curious to see what he has to say about that.
Well, it's time to find out, Rotterdam. Congratulations, Hydra, on securing your spot in the round of 16. Now, Hydra, many thought coming into this group you were the clear favorite to come out in first place, but that didn't happen. What went wrong?
I don't know. I think my condition is very good. I had a good dream and I slept well last night. Yeah, and I expected to my first advance, but I don't know why. Yeah.
Well, in the first game against MorroW, many people were shocked that you lost 2-1. Do you think this is because MorroW played very well, or do you think you underestimated MorroW a little bit?
Little bit, but he played very well. Yeah, I think he played very well, and I have some mistake when I play second game. Yeah, so yeah, he played very well.
Well, after your quick 2-0 victory over IA, you had to do a rematch against MorroW. How did you prepare differently this time as opposed to the first time?
To be honest, I didn't prepare my matches. I prepared my first English interview. Yes, so that's why I played so bad play today. Yeah, I think.
Well, in that case, I'm really glad we're getting the chance to hear your English, as it is extremely good. Shout-outs to Katz. I'm sure he's helped you a lot with your English. And I heard you're also getting tutored by James the Translator. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm curious to see how your life at the Root Team House has been. I know you moved there in November. What has your daily life been like there?
Root House is very good. Food, people are very good, and especially I like California weather. Yeah, so I'm very enjoy American life.
All right, my last question for you, Hydra. I know that a lot of people are your fans, and they would love to hear some words for you in English to them.
Yeah, thanks for cheering me, and I trying to my best for practicing. So yeah, I show you good games as well. And thanks to my sponsors, TvZ and TT Sports. Yeah, thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much, Hydra. Best of luck in the round of 16. With that, we have our Group G results secure. We have Showtime and Hydra advancing on to the round of 16. Let's head over to the commentary team to hear what Rotterdam and Nathanias have to say about today's results.
I think it's been an awesome day of StarCraft. That's definitely what I think, Nate. We've seen a lot of things that we don't see in our everyday broadcast or even in our own LEDA games. And, you know, we play a fair bit, I would say.
Yeah.
So that is always, you know, the thing that we hope for when we come to the studio. We don't only hope for awesome games, but we also hope to be generally surprised by the things that we see. And I definitely think we have seen
Today delivered.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a good day of StarCraft. A lot of scrappy back and forth games, some surprises here and there, and some all-around insanity. You can take another look at the round of 32 as it stands. There is only one group remaining, which will be tomorrow.
I think it's also very good that we had a Protoss player advance today, Nate, because Protoss was so far the most underrepresented race in the round of 16. Now it's starting to look a little more healthy. We have 3 Protoss, and tomorrow it's very likely, well, actually it's 100% sure that we have at least one more Protoss advanced. Maybe even 2, of course. IGUS is going to try to stop that from happening. I'm extremely excited for tomorrow. I think PvT is an awesome matchup, and I love me some PvP. Even though it can be infuriating to play, it's definitely pretty awesome to watch. And especially, Nate, if everything plays out early, in a normal way in the early phase in the game, I think it's a pretty damn cool matchup. So make sure to tune in tomorrow, like we said many times. Same time, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. for the Eastern peeps, for the Eastern folks on the East Coast in the US, and midnight for all the Europeans. It's a weekend, so you guys should be able to catch it. I think it's going to be awesome, Nate.
Yeah, it's going to be good times. Join us tomorrow for the final group of the WCS Premier League round of 32, because the finals will be taking place April 3rd, 4th, and 5th, so players are going to have a nice little bit of time to prepare for that round of 16 bracket.
So far, everything looks cool. We know 14 out of our 16 players. Tomorrow, we'll know all 16. Let us know what you thought about the broadcast today, and let us know who you're excited about tomorrow. Hashtag WCS on Twitter. And the last words of today's broadcast will be from Sue.
Thank you very much, Rotterdam. It has been a pleasure to host today's games. We saw so much great StarCraft II action. Once again, we had Showtime advancing in first place and Hydra advancing in second. But tomorrow, we'll be back at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard with Group H. Make sure to tune in then, hashtag WCS, and a huge thank you to our lovely sponsors, Gigabyte and BenQ, for all their help this weekend. My name is Smix, and from everyone here in Burbank, California, have a great night.